welcome to the weekly lunch meeting, which unfortunately is back on Zoom this week, of the Rotary Club of Barrie. Things go better when you are here. We will begin the meeting in our traditional fashion with Rotary Invocation, O Canada, and a toast to the Queen.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
The Queen. Please be seated. And I'd like to ask Craig Walwyn to come to the stage here to pay tribute to his father and longtime Rotarian Jack. Craig?
Thanks, Jody. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, President Jody, fellow Rotarians and guests. Who was Jack Walwyn? He was a loving husband to Verdi, who he cherished and adored, after meeting her in RVH in 1952, where she was a nurse. He was a proud father of Nancy, myself, as well as his favorite son-in-law, David, a papa to his 4 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren. Our dad began his career as an electrician after graduating from Ryerson and apprenticing with Art Webster, which was a well-known Barrie name at that point in time. In 1951, he opened Walwyn Electric on Sophia Street. And actually back in 1954, he used to be in the burner service too. He lost all his oil tanks when Hurricane Hazel came through. He eventually moved the business to his present location on Innisfil Street in 1958. Our father was a great role model in teaching life lessons, and more importantly, that treat all with respect, which he did throughout his whole life. He was both a visionary and an entrepreneur, making many contributions to the growth of the city of Barrie. He believed strongly in giving back to the community that supported him. He loved to travel, but especially loved the outdoors, no matter what it was. Dad was an active member of Trinity Anglican Church, Probus, Jesters, and was the president of Sheba Shrine in 1971. He joined Rotary on October 7th, 1974, and he was honored to be a member of this club. And our slogan, service above self, was him. From the Rotary Chicken Barbecue through all the other events, including the fun run, he always participated when he was able. I think the late night committee meetings were his favorite though, to relax and to listen to the people he respected after the meeting was over. He did his classification in 1986. Rob Hamilton was present. So that was 12 years between being inducted and his classification. But him and Ernie Irvine were having a competition to see who would be first to actually do their classification. That I can't tell you who won. In his later years, when unable to drive, I would like to thank all Rotary members who gave him a ride to committee meetings, especially Jack Burke and Peter Dean. I know he is very grateful that people took the time to help him. Our father had a wonderful life, and boy, did he have fun. Even before his passing, he commented many times that there was nothing he would ever do or change in his life, which says a lot about someone who lived to 94. Our family would like to thank everyone for all the cards, emails, texts, and calls of condolences we received from his Rotary friends. We've planned a celebration of life now. It's going to be September the 9th, which is a Thursday from 2 to 4 at the Barrie Country Club. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Craig. And as we said last week, your father was an absolute gentleman and certainly participated right up to the end. COVID took some time away from him here, but was a valued member of the club. And the way our years, the past 2 Rotary years have started, have been some tough losses to the club, and that's reality, and that's the way it is. But he certainly will be missed and was a wonderful individual. So all our love, Craig. Our Beacon editor this week is Arlette. I thank you for that, Arlette. And folks, if you have any announcements, please forward a copy to her for inclusion in the minutes. And a shout out to Marta Ross for last week's great Beacon, and again doing that on pretty short notice. Thank you, Marta. I'll now call upon the membership to introduce any guests that we have. I know of at least one, and our guest speaker, Kira, or if you're online, if you want to, she'll be introduced later. Larry, I think you have a guest. Is there any other guests online? Just unmute yourself and introduce your guest, please. Not seeing any, Larry.
Hi, I'd like the club to welcome my friend Kevin Campbell, who on my screen is on the top row, 3rd from the right. I don't know where he is on yours. Please give him a warm Rotary welcome. This is his first meeting with us.
Welcome, Kevin. Thank you for being with us today, and please feel welcome to join us anytime. We'll move on to birthday greetings, and we have 3 really great ones here. Today's attendance taker, and actually this is a role that she has filled pretty much by herself for the last year and a bit. Betty Ann Lewis is celebrating a birthday on July 30th. Past President Deb is celebrating a birthday July 31st. And good friend Todd Tuckey is celebrating a birthday also on July 31st. So happy birthday to those fellows. And congratulations to Ron and Kim Riley, as they'll be celebrating their 36th year wedding anniversary on August 3rd. Congratulations. And entering into his 42nd year of Rotary service this coming week, Marshall Green. Congratulations, Marshall, and thank you for your continued service. Jeff? Thank you for that, Jeff. That is, President Deb got a lot of enjoyment out of the videos that Jeff chose, and I think he's nailed down that one for me. I love that. Thank you. For birthdays and anniversaries, a donation to our club's Polio Plus eradication campaign will be made in your name. So again, as I said earlier, we were hoping to have met outdoors and carry on that momentum, and we'll talk about that a little bit later here. But we're going to go into a breakout room right now and just see if we can't come up with some good Rotary memories. I've got lots of memories in my 20 years in the club, and I just thought we would take a few minutes, break off into groups and chat about favorite Rotary memories, whether they happened 25, 30 years ago or they happened 2 weeks ago. There's lots of great stories in our club. And with all the distancing we've had and the lack of connection, we maybe forget some of the neat things that happen, whether it's a Rotary thing or just a funny story. So we'll break off into groups. I'll stay in the main group here, but let's just come up with some neat Rotary stories. And then when we come back together, we'll see if we can get a few people to share the stories and maybe change the names to protect the innocent or guilty. So Jeff's going to throw us off into our rooms now. 7 minutes. 10.
What's that? Who? Did you resign? 1 point? Yeah. Here, you host for a minute. I'm gonna go turn the air on.
Okay. My,
Is that your favorite memory, Craig? Oh, we gotta use that one.
the first meeting I came to, I had said to Adrock, you know, I'm interested in Rotary. He said, well, come, you can be my guest.
Yeah.
So I came and I sat with you bunch of jokers in the Sunshine Corner. And I didn't know whether I should go to the bathroom or wind my watch or what I should do. But it was the funniest damn thing I've ever seen, is sitting with him and Ganch and Rosie at that rock.
Dave, there's lots of old Rotary stories we've heard over the years that we probably can't share, but I think your dad might have been involved in this one, and I don't know a lot of the details, but it was a committee meeting that involved a dump truck full of manure being left at the end of somebody's driveway. Is that a Terry Porter
Yeah,
story?
that did happen. I don't remember the names of who it happened to, but someone was getting a little uppity. So someone called their friends and had a dump truck of manure right by the garage door. And then to add injury to insult, there was one of the characters was big for playing a trumpet, and John Milkeritis took the trumpet and put it mouthpiece down deep into the manure.
Oh, ouch.
That's just not kind.
No.
That was Rotary in the 80s. It was a very different world.
Is it very well considered?
Yeah, I don't think that passed any of these at all.
Well, it's the truth.
Well, I
There's
think it might have been it built goodwill between most of them, except for the intended receiver.
not the trumpet player. I've heard some stories, and again, we'll be careful here, going back when JB was in the club, Johnny Stevenson. We really can't share those, but I've shared this story. My first day as Sergeant at Arms, and Chris Garapi had said, there's 2 people you don't give the mic to. Johnny was one of them. Peter Wu was the other. So the first 2 people I went to see were Johnny Stevenson and Peter Wu. And I had a little bit with some talking about bringing the club into newer technology. And I had a tin can with a string for Johnny, and I handed him the microphone. I was up at the front of the room. I can't repeat what he said, but it was very inappropriate. And I ripped the microphone back, and Chris is staring at me going, and I don't think anybody else in the club heard it. And so then I'm like, oh my God. So then I moved on to Peter Wu, and Peter wanted to tell a joke. And I think you remember the joke. I can't say it either. It was very inappropriate. It was about Barbara Walters was interviewing an Indian tribe and asking how they come up with the names for their children. And there was
Just stop.
I'm just saying Peter's joke was, and I can hear Peter Dean saying right now, he's not going to say it. He said it.
Peter did have a couple of clean jokes, though. He had several clean ones that he'd like to tell as well.
I don't recall one of them, Dave.
He did one about a company was bought out by a multinational, and they put an Englishman in charge of purchasing and a German in charge of efficiency, and they put the Japanese guy in charge of supplies. And then the head office came to check out on everything, and they went to the Englishman, and everyone was going well. And then the German was efficient, and then they couldn't find the Japanese person anywhere.
Oh God.
And they went finally to the broom closet, and they opened it, and he goes, "Supplies!"
Hey, let's be a little bit more inappropriate.
I was
if we
just
can.
going to say, I just walked right into that one. Sorry. That's my
I was
bad all over
quoting
that.
Peter Wu. It wasn't me saying that. That was his joke, and it was for him relatively
I
clean.
just heard you saying it.
I know what I have to edit out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff's got some editing to do before we go forward. This is what's being recorded, obviously, right? Yeah. Delete, delete, delete. It took me 4 meetings to get there, so that's not bad.
Hey, President Jody,
Yep.
flip your badge of office around.
It doesn't stay. It was that way. I put it on right. It moves. I need a little tie clip to lock it in, but it doesn't stay.
Or a magnet.
Story.
Doesn't Iron Man have a magnet in his chest?
Just the thing in his chest? That's right. Should I just take it off now and lay it down? Who's up next? How long has that been? 5 minutes?
We have the flag, yeah.
Okay, we'll go.
I've got a timer.
Okay, we'll go 7, I guess. It's 12:30. 12:35. Yeah, that'll work. Kira, our speaker, is ready at 12:45 or is that Dan Mallory on our screen here? We only have one Dan, do we not?
I believe it was only Dan Mallory, and he usually does come in as a purple small D.
Daryl, how are you keeping?
I'm well. How about yourself?
I'm good. Daryl, you've been around, how many years have you been in Rotary now, Daryl?
I believe this is my 9th.
I was gonna say you're gonna be pushing 10. So what's a memorable moment or experience for you in our club or in Rotary?
I enjoyed doing the sandwiches at Campbell Fest with when we had the barbecues all set up, and I always like to work nights. That way I got to watch all the different music bands playing and everything else. No, that's a fond memory for me in Rotary, and the international student stuff as well too. I love hearing the stories as they come back and how it changed them.
Yeah, the student exchange, my time with that is absolutely at the top of my list on listening to the kids. And one of the favorite things, I think it's in February when they all meet at a spot somewhere up in the Muskokas, and that's where the outbounds locations are determined. But I would gather up 2 or 3 of the kids and put them in the car and just shut up and listen. And you'd get into a discussion. It didn't matter where they were from. You know, maybe their hairstyles were different, their clothes and their music, and that was it. They all had the same issues, fears, challenges. It really powerful stuff, the exchange students.
And it seemed almost every one of them said, I want to go back to my host family. You know, I want to go back to that country. I've learned so much and I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
They won't get that experience anywhere else.
And certainly, as Eric would attest, I don't know that there's many other countries that kind of give it the level of respect that we do, or even just in our district. It's very well and very thoroughly done and very well vetted on the kids that we send out. We're known for having pretty strong kids. Certainly our club always had a very strong candidate.
Yeah, it was great. I'm looking forward when we get back to the meetings and we can bring those candidates in and the kids and just listen to their experiences again.
Yeah, it's student exchange is suspended this year again, so I'd imagine it's going to be a while and it's going to take some time to regenerate that interest. You going to call them back now? Okay. So after this,
They've got 25 seconds to come forward.
okay, so we're just waiting. There's about 20 seconds left. You'll start. Everyone's coming back now. So I was just going to try to grab 1 or 2 people to maybe share whether it was their story or what came out of their group. Anybody want to volunteer to share a funny story or a memorable story? Throw your hand up and don't everybody, Sebastian, is your hand up?
Jody, Bernie was just starting to tell a good story. Maybe he could finish the story.
Bernie, you good to do that?
Oh, sure, I could do that. Yeah, I was just
Thank you.
remembering our our good friend and past Rotarian Jack Walwyn, and when we were sharing stories. So when I joined Rotary, gosh, I don't even know when it was now, but 35 so years ago, I guess, we met at the Sheba Shrine, and I didn't really know very many people, none very well at all, really. And so if you got to the meeting early, 12 o'clock-ish, then you stood around and you didn't know anybody, and it was kind of an awkward time. But I remember distinctly Jack Walwyn, whom I didn't know at the time, but he came over and made sure that he introduced himself and made me feel welcome. And honestly, I don't know if I'd have stayed in Rotary if it hadn't have been for Jack and what he did that day. So I just wanted to share that.
That's a perfect story to share, Bernie. Thank you. And not much else needs to be said about that. There are lots of other great stories, and the only thing I'll say in there is, for some of our Rotarians, there's some newer Rotarians that haven't met in person, and some Rotarians that only have a little bit of time with us. And to this day, it's a tough room to walk into. South Shore can be intimidating. You come in, you sign in, you get your badge, you look around, and they're talking, and you kind of think where I fit in. And that's one of the strengths of our club is somebody will eventually gravitate towards you, but equally to go and hang into a meeting and get into a conversation is there. And it doesn't matter who it is, what their last name is, all the egos get checked at the door. And we're very inclusive. So again, we're fighting to get back together. I'm going to segue this into an announcement I was going to make, and the power that we have when we're there. And it was very evident last week when we were at the Garden. And for me, sitting at the podium waiting for the meeting to start, and to have several people come forward and not necessarily say hi to Jody, but to say hi to President Jody and to pay respect to the chain of command was a really powerful, unexpected moment. And a little gift, I guess, that you get of being a president of this club. But the energy, the excitement, the love, the smiles. Johnny Wernick's smile was right in front of me, and Johnny was beaming. He was beaming last week. So this is frustrating. Today, we were planning on being there. Todd Tuckey, and we're going to announce this. We've made arrangements. We have a tent. We're going to have a tent set up there that we can meet, rain or shine, moving forward. I don't know that we'll have it next week. And but Todd has made arrangements for that. So I'm looking for a final update. We'll have a porta potty there. We'll be able to consistently meet and engage and share. And I know he doesn't want any attention for this, but Bernie, thank you. I'll just say thank you, Bernie. That's phenomenal that you're facilitating this for us, and absolutely, club. So it's this is my own personal rant. Secretary Jeff came in and gave me a hug today, but I've been looking forward all week. I want to get there. We got to get back. We got to get our numbers back. We got to keep moving forward. And of course, the weather, and it's frustrating. So we're going to play into that at the end of the meeting, but thank you for being here today. Hopefully we'll be out there again next week. We'll keep it as last minute as we can to hold up for the weather, because the weather needs to turn around. So let's get into a couple of announcements here, club, and thanks for listening to me. So Peter Lorimer, you have a couple of announcements you'd like to make for us, please?
Thank you, President Jody. I have a letter from the Rotary Club of Coruscant in Coruscant, Belize, from the president, who reads, "Good afternoon to the past International Community Director, Peter Lorimer, and the entire Rotary Club of Barrie. This is Shelley Falk, this year's president, 2021-22, for the Rotary Club of Coruscant. I am writing to express our sincere gratitude for your continual support for our club and our scholarship program. It is because of Rotarians like you that enable us to continue this very vital program." Now, this is a program where in Belize, the children only go to grade 6, paid by the government. After that, the parents have to pay for them to continue to be educated. And our club sponsors 5 children a year to continue on with their education through the Rotary Club of Coruscant. So she says, she continues with, And we're also very grateful for the clothing collection for our annual cheap sale. Because of this donations of clothing and other donated items, it helped us raise $5,200 this year. All of this helped so incredibly much when funding was down this last year. We are eternally grateful for the relationship that still holds with Alfred Hemsch, and you're supporting his work in our club. Again, please accept our thanks on behalf of the 10 students and families in the Coruscant district. Without your help, they could not finish high school. So I said 5, it turns out it's 10 that we're sponsoring. So that's one announcement. The second announcement is Brian Galbraith came out with a really good idea last year for the Santa Claus fundraiser. We had 6 people, 3 from the Rotary Club and 3 people outside the Rotary Club volunteer to be Santa Clauses. And we raised, every visit was an average of $20 a visit. So I broke out the math and thought, well, if we do this for 30 days before Christmas, and we get 5 people, 5 kids at the Santa Claus meets in an hour, so just 1 hour a day for 30 days. And we get 100 people, Rotarians, doing that at $20 a visit. That'll raise our club $300,000. So if we can get 100 Santas or 90 Santas and 10 Mrs. Claus, because some of the children might want to prefer to talk to Mrs. Claus. If we can do, we won't do it this year. This is going to take some work to get it to the area. But I've talked to some bloggers that are influencers with mothers that have young families, and they're more than willing to promote this onto their social media blog. And I've spoken with one, and she's got 25,000 mothers that listen to her blog. So we need 15,000 children to fill up all the spots with 100 Santas or Santas/Mrs. Claus. It's something we could try and get to, but if we only got 1/3 this year, then that's still going to raise us $100,000. So reaching out to the club to see if people could connect with myself or Brian to volunteer to do some Santa Claus work. You need a Santa Claus suit, but I'll tell you, you won't have more fun at any other fundraiser than talking with young children as Santa, because it's just a blast. At any rate, give that some thought, put it forward. We'll hold a Santa Claus school in September or October, and just spitball some ideas as to how to talk with the children, etc. So thank you for your time, and let's get behind this, because this is a tremendous chance for our club to make a huge amount of money. And Graham Mallory, I see you're there. I hope you join up, because you don't even have to rent a beard. So anyway, thank you very much.
Peter, thank you for those 2 messages, and 2 important messages. I know the work that you and your committee did at International last year. You put a lot of work and time and effort into it, and it's certainly great to have the connection with Alfred that we have, but to have the work and what we expected to multiply is fantastic. So congratulations on that. And the project, the Santa Claus project. I was a Santa last year, and Peter's right. It's a fantastic experience, a ton of fun. So we're starting on our project early, obviously. We hope we have the opportunity to do some of our traditional things, but we're not waiting to be told what we can and can't do. We have events that we're working on that doesn't matter if we're Zoom or in person or what, we can do them. So you're going to hear more about Santa. We'll hear more about the math, because I don't trust Peter without a calculator here. We need to see that. We'll do that in the future. But it is a phenomenal event. So I will certainly advocate that if you can volunteer time to that, it's an amazing thing. Darren, do you have an announcement for us, please?
Yes, President Jody, I do. It's well, actually, hello to all the Rotarians out there and guests. What I wanted to share was, as the director of the International Committee for this year, we did get a thank you certificate from Shelter Box for a contribution to them over the last year and reaching their bronze level sponsorship. And it's a great program. We've helped out with them for a number of years, and we're also considering it again for this coming year as well. What we're able to do is provide some money towards buying these shelter boxes. And for those of you that don't know what it is, basically it's sort of a Tupperware style large box that they put a tent, blankets, cooking supplies, and so forth in it. And these get directed to disaster zones. So we can either contribute so that they've got sort of a stockpile ready to go, or we can also contribute to any sort of special cause that comes up through the years. So it's definitely something that's a great thing that we can do. We also will potentially be setting up a presentation for the club that they're offering Zoom presentations from some of their key people. So we're going to be looking at possibly doing that later in the year. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Darren. And I did the club a favor because that should have been an announcement for Peter Lorimer, and God love Pete, but I didn't think we needed 3 announcements from Petey. So I asked Darren, this year's international director, to do that. And President Deb, obviously this happened in her year last year. So the accolades fall to last year's board for doing that. So well done. Announcements are done unless anybody's got anything they didn't tell me about. No, good. Let's see if we can get a few laughs out of here. We have a very unprepared and unrehearsed Sergeant at Arms routine today. So let's bring up Sergeant at Arms Larry, please.
Forsetti Yodi and my splendiferous Rotarians and guests. This greeting to the President Jody is brought to you by Iceland. So Forsetti Yodi, good afternoon. God dig. That's all I know. Now, I don't think, sadly, John Wernick's on the line today. Can we find him in absentia since he admitted to the whole nonsense last week?
I don't have much of a heart, but I certainly don't have anything to do that after Johnny did what he did last week. We didn't give him enough airtime.
Yeah.
You can try and find him. I'm not supporting it.
All right. Now, I don't think we have online a couple of people that I wanted to talk to, unfortunately. Luckily, we do know that Pete Lorimer is on the line. Peter, how are you, sir? There's an unmute button there on your computer.
Yeah.
Just click it. Just
Yeah,
click it.
yeah, thanks.
There you
President
go.
Arms, Larry.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
Good to see you.
I've heard tell that that you got some new wheels. Is that correct?
It is, yes.
All
yes,
right. Can
I-
you tell us about these wheels?
Yeah, I picked an old farm truck up yesterday to drive around in. And I kind of blame it on past District Governor Jim Williams.
Let's subject that to, as Forsetti Yodi mentioned, let's subject that to the 4-way test if we could. Is that the truth? What year is your old farm truck?
Well, it's last year's model. It's a 2021.
All right. Okay. Now, so you failed the 4-way test on the first question. Congratulations on that.
Now 2022s are out.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Could I step in here, sir?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Please do.
Thank you. So Pete, and this is why I took that other announcement away from Pete, folks, knowing we were coming back here. But so Pete, a few minutes ago, you made a presentation about Santa Claus and ultimately identified yourself as Papa Elf. And Papa Elf drives a pretty significant sleigh. So I'm thinking you didn't buy a farm vehicle. You ultimately have sleigh number 1. And I think that probably comes with a fairly hefty fine. Larry, what do you think? Oh, now it's official.
I've been fasting. I think definitely a significant fine for Papa Smurf or Papa Elf, or what are you calling yourself these days, Papa?
Well, it depends on how many beer I have in me.
Well, I would say, how many cylinders in the engine of your new sleigh?
6.
6? How many wheels?
There's 4 wheels,
4 wheels. Okay, and it's a 2021.
correct?
Okay, so if we do 21 times 4 times 6, what's the math? You were doing the math on how many hundreds of thousands of dollars we could make if we had 65 million Santa Clauses.
Well, it would be $300,000 on the Santa Claus minus whatever fine you're gonna give me.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. So by multiplication, our engineer secretary was able to calculate it's $484. I don't suggest that we should fine Peter $484 for getting a new sleigh.
I would agree with that.
Okay,
I would be okay, though, to fine Pete $10 for the sleigh and $5 for not addressing the president, but addressing the sergeant at arms.
oh snap. That just happened.
Thanks, Petey.
Peter, do you have the wherewithal to, do you know how to pay online?
Yeah, I'll show up at President Jody's place of business and pick up those fresh eggs I won last week, next week when I'm back in town.
Fair enough, fair enough. And I don't think either Todd Tuckey or Catherine Elphick are on the line. I just want to make sure that they had a way to pay the fines that they were levied last week. I'm not 100% sure they got paid. Now, but I do see for the first time in a long while, young Dave Mills. How are you, sir?
I am fine, thanks, SSA and President Jody. Good to see
Oh,
you.
well done. Well done. Can you tell us what's new in your world?
Well, Mother Nature has not been kind to us on the ball field. We've had 13 scheduled games in July and we've been rained out 5. So not a good start to the season. However, we're going to be competitive.
Oh, competitive. How many straight championships have you won?
6.
6. So I think competitive is to say the least. To say the
Well,
least.
we've had a major turnover in staff.
Ah, very true. Now, I know I keep bugging you about this, but now that I'm the sergeant at arms, maybe you'll take it more seriously. How badly do you need a 55-year-old lefty from the pen?
Big time.
All right.
Big time.
I got a gig. I got a gig. That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, Dave. I would suggest maybe a $10 fine for Dave for the promotion of the Bay Cats, but we wish you all the best of luck this year.
Well, wait a minute.
I think, yeah, I was waiting for you, Millsy. Go ahead.
Hold on,
You're on it.
hold on. Here's a plan. At the next outdoor Rotary luncheon, I will give out complimentary tickets to all Rotarians at that event and come and see some ball games.
Will you bring my uniform at that meeting?
We have to go to the tailor.
Millsy will happily take the tickets, but what does that have to do with your fine?
Well, it's kind of unfair because we really haven't even got into the season yet. So listen, when we get to be 500, 5-5 or 6-6, then we can talk about it. But it's hurting. Hey, fan base is down. Fan base is down this year.
What's the current record, Millsy? What's the Baycats' current record?
3-4.
Ooh.
Okay. So I'll tell you what, let's put this on pause for a bit. Let's see what the next 2 weeks bring.
Yeah.
I think this may be more of a management issue than it is on-field performance.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Now, luckily, we have in the house, we've got Craig Walwyn. Craig, can you come on up here for a quick sec? I've heard tell that there has been yet another hole-in-one in the Walwyn family. Can you explain that?
Sergeant at Arms Larry, my daughter got a hole-in-one a week ago Wednesday on number 3. That was her first.
At the country club?
At the country club, yes. Yeah, that was her first. Actually, she really didn't get able to partake in the drinks because they only give you one and she was driving home that night. But that's number 12 in our family now, combined.
12. That's an even dozen. I just for the sheer spite of it, I think he deserves a fine. That should be a multiple of 12.
Just to stand between you two handsome gentlemen. So first off, we're gonna go Wally $5 again for addressing him and not me. This is worth $5. 12 hole-in-ones in the family. What do we think, guys? $2 a family hole-in-one?
Yes.
25 bucks total, Wally?
Well, one side of the family has 5 and one side has 7, so I'm fair with that. If you're gonna go to David for on the
That's
5.
a you problem.
How many does Dave have?
2.
Dave himself,
Yeah.
not Dave's family.
No,
Dave.
Dave,
How many does Nancy
We're
have?
fine.
3.
Okay, and how many do you have?
Let's do the math.
You want-
If there's 6
Do you want to
of
play
them,
the 25 or we keep on going?
I'll pay the 20.
We'll pay the 25. Thanks, Wally.
All right.
Email it, or how do I pay you?
I'll take it right now.
Right now.
Thanks.
And lastly, but not leastly, we do have one letter to Lars, really quickly, promise. We can put that up on the screen, Secretary Jeff. We got a note, and I had to edit it a little bit. It says, "Dear SAA Lars, will you and President Jody promise to never do lip sync versions of Tom Jones and Kiss? Oh, the nightmares. Just never. Love and hugs, the staff at the South Shore Center." Now, there were some really profane words in the original letter, but I edited them out. But I think, President Jody, that we could probably oblige them with that and never, ever do lip syncs of Kiss and Tom Jones again.
I 100% agree. We will do it live.
We'll do it live. We'll actually do the singing. Because as you guys all know, I want to rock and roll all night.
Get out of here.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Sergeant Arms Larry. That was fun. That was fun. I love that. So Arif, I believe you're online, my friend. And Mal, it looks like you're wearing a lampshade on your head on my screen. That suits you well, dear. But Arif, if you would be so kind to introduce our guest speaker today, please.
Thank you very much, President Jody, and thanks for the opportunity. Fellow Rotarians, I am extremely enthusiastic to introduce you to our guest today, Constable Kira Brooks. And Kira, thank you so much for agreeing so enthusiastically on short notice to join us. By way of introduction and in lieu of a bio, President Jody, I wanted to just give a little bit of history. I've known Constable Brooks for, and I'm going to call her Kira because I think that's what she would want, for a number of years, both by service and relationship through council and the Police Services Board, but also as a volunteer of hers. And but I think more importantly, not only is Kira a cop, but she's a neighbor, and she's an exceptionally invested member of our community. She is the epitome of who you and I would want serving and engaging as a member of the police service. By way of a bio, though, I sort of threw that out the window because they're sometimes boring, and I decided to ask her former boss. Yeah, I know. I see her expression. Look at that. This is good stuff. And so I asked her former boss just to give me some insight into who she is and what she liked about working with her the most. And the words from Sergeant Tony Tallarico are, "I love her heart and I love her passion for what she does. She's a friend outside of being a colleague. It's her ability to educate the community, regardless of who her audience is. It's her desire to help." Now, Kira has a history of working in the school system with youth, in the community. She's obviously got a passion for that. She's recently been, I want to call it promoted, but assigned to the new role as a community safety and well-being officer to roll out this plan that the service has landed on with the endorsement of council. But it's because of her ability to transfer knowledge into real life for real people, whether it's speaking with seniors at a nursing home about, or a retirement home about online fraud, and then the very next minute being able to go and speak to people at a hockey arena about things that would relate to them. So those are the words of her superior, or her former superior, and I'll leave it at that. President Jody and Rotarians, please give her your full attention. I think that it's valuable because she's going to share with us the evolution of policing from what we used to know to where where she and the police service believe it should be going to serve our community best. With that, Constable Kira Brooks, thanks for joining us at short notice.
Thank you so much, Arif. I don't know if I can stand up to that amazing introduction. I appreciate it though. And thank you, President Jody and Sergeant Arms Larry. I don't want to be fined. I'm afraid of this group already. I really appreciate having the opportunity to be here today. And when I was asked just a couple days ago, I kind of threw a PowerPoint presentation, and I know you guys are probably death by PowerPoint out, death by Zoom out. So I will try to ad lib more of it than just sharing my screen. I was also asked to talk a little bit about what some other things that we do in addition to the community safety and well-being plan that was just created recently and approved by the board. I'm just going to start sharing my screen here so you can see it. And hopefully I did test it. Hopefully you guys can see that. If maybe someone, okay, perfect. Thank you. I'll go over that because that's the newest position that I'm involved in. I'm super excited to be involved in it because it was a brand new position and I get to make of it whatever I want, basically. I recently got to create a social media account. It's called our Community Safety and Wellbeing Officer, and I need to maintain that account. And I'm pretty excited about that because this is from scratch. And the program, or sorry, the plan was already implemented when I came into the unit. So I've quickly learned to adapt with it. And it's the best plan that I can see as a collaborative effort between our community and our community partners. The work is already being done though. So this is no surprise that we have this plan. It's just that the Ontario government actually is now requiring municipalities to have a concrete plan. So now we've just got it in writing, but we've been doing all of these things all along. So the overview of the plan is basically to take those agencies, the police, the government, local organizations, and residents to discuss local issues, to work collaboratively together and come up with some actions to be implemented. Those actions to be implemented are going to go over through the next 4 years. And then eventually in 2025, when that approaches, we're going to start all over again. So it's really exciting because we have different actions that we're going to be able to improve upon. We're going to be able to create along the way. And some of them are already being worked on extensively right now, which is really exciting. The legislation basically, like I said, required us to have this plan, I guess basically just to show accountability and to have something in writing, which is great because we would love to show you guys what we're doing as a community and our involvement with all of our partners. The plan is obviously going to identify some risks that contribute to crime and victimizations, specifically drugs and addictions and overdoses and all that sort of stuff. And I'm sure you're all seeing the problems that we might be occurring downtown. It's escalated because of COVID, unfortunately. There's just a lot of shelters being filled up. So we are out there actively, and I'll tell you a little project that we're working on right now, which is exciting in a few minutes. We, through the plan, have identified some risk factors and how the municipality is going to treat that and which areas we're going to effectively combat first. Sorry, we have these motion lights in here, so I'm going to be in the dark and in the light, on and off, sorry. We're going to prioritize those risk factors to help reduce these crimes. And then we're going to prioritize them and action them. Oh, sorry about that. I didn't turn off my computer. Let's see if I can end this. And then we're going to set out some measurable outcomes at the end. So I'm going to try to go really quick because I think you have another guest speaker from what I believe. The development of the plan started in 2019 and it launched just this past July. The board approved it and I spoke directly with the city and we created a little video to go over the plan. That's on the city website, and it's also on our Barrie Police website and on my CSWB website as well. If you want to see it, it's just a quick overview. We identified some risks. Obviously, our opioid crisis, our addiction, and our mental health, the homelessness, affordable housing, poverty, that sort of thing. Those are huge, huge conditions. We are under stress in some services just because we are inundated with problems in the area, such as the overdosing and the homelessness. So our services are really stretched and a lot of people get burnt out and that sort of stuff. And there is such thing as Zoom fatigue, which we're learning about, compassion fatigue, all that sort of stuff. So we have to work together and try to hold people together from that social isolation. And we want to make sure, I was on a meeting this morning about the homelessness, and we don't want to subject those individuals to feeling discriminated against. So we really want to bring in our partners and work collaboratively with them. Obviously, we're going to be looking at emerging trends like pandemics, our vaping, our vulnerability to online risks, which is huge right now. As RF mentioned before, I've done a lot of stuff in our frauds unit and working with the elderly. And right now, I'm sure every one of you guys have gotten a text message. Thanks for getting the COVID vaccine. You are entitled to $54. Click here. Well, unfortunately, our youth see that and are like, cha-ching, I'm going to get some money. And they click these things and they're being victimized, which is terrible. So our framework is obviously based on how we're going to respond, what we're going to do to intervene, then how are we going to prevent this, and then work with our social development to promote and maintain a community safety and well-being plan. I know I'm going super fast, but there's a bunch of things that I want to talk about. The plan, even though it set out actions, we identified 15 actions that the committees and the organizations can work collaboratively together with, or we allow different people to have leads on those actions. And the Barrie Police have the majority of the leads of the actions. That's because our chief is really committed to having the police be forward. We're a forward-thinking organization. We have really great stuff with evidence-based policing going forward. And so we've really taken the rein, and we are looking forward to working on all of these actions that were identified by the groups and implementing them within the next 4 years. So over here, you can see that there were 15 different action plans, and the ones that are in the blue are the majority of the ones that the Barrie Police are working on, which is super exciting because that's going to be me working on a lot of these actions. You know, working with the community, and we are developing a community justice center, which will be exciting when it gets going, but it's a process where we can bring all vulnerable people into one area where there would be one specific judge looking after the people who are committing low-level crimes like the thefts. And now instead of just prosecuting them, we can assist them and get to the root cause of why they're doing these crimes and what do we need to look at? Are they addicted? Do they have some mental health issues? How can we work at helping these people? So a lot of this is just working together, increasing our mental health services, working together with making these individuals feel like we are there to support them. The Barrie Police team, currently the project that I wanted to talk about is our crew unit. We had downtown officers working directly downtown, but now we've done this little project for 10 weeks. I'm not sure if I put this in my next slide, I might have. Yeah, it's a 10-month project. It's led by 2 of our sergeants, the sergeant in charge of our crew unit, our community response unit, which is the unit I'm in, and our community services unit, basically our schools unit. They've worked together to work on different projects in the area. So for example, I'll just give you one. There is a property in the city of Barrie that is behind the current Busby Center right now that backs onto a great big green space where there's a residential area. Because of the Busby Center not allowing drug use on the property, the individuals usually go off-site for a 30-minute period to do whatever they're doing, and then they return to be taken care of, fed, or whatever the case may be. And as a result of that, some of these people are leaving and going into the wooded areas. So that's a huge issue for our ward counselor, our residences. So that's one of the projects that we targeted, and we just worked on that project, and we're seeing great benefits, and we're getting some people some housing and wondering, why are you going here? What's your problem? Are you addicted? Do you need help? That sort of thing. So we're getting them out of that area and getting them into services, which is our whole goal of it. So that's just one project. We're doing graffiti projects. We're doing traffic and noise. Every city, I get complaints from all ward counselors that everybody needs an officer on their street because of loud vehicles and speeding. So we are targeting those areas, and we're also targeting people who are committing low-level crimes, so we can assist them and analyzing where all of this is happening in the city and sending and targeting our resources specifically to those areas. So we are giving our community members their value and their service that they're requiring. So both teams are working collaboratively together, and they're responsible for the entire city. And it's been really, really successful. We're getting a lot of great feedback from our members. So that makes our membership happy, and we're getting great feedback from our community, which ultimately that is our goal, is to make our community happy and safe and feeling that we've got a sense of community well-being. This project was a 10-month pilot project, so we're going to continue working on it. And how this helps is we're high visibility. So you can see that I'm wearing the yellow shirt. We all have our yellow shirts on. We are designated to complaint areas, and they're targeting those areas. We have collected data, and we're feeding it back to our council members, and we're using live, fresh data and stuff through surveys from the community and from our counselors. So that's basically our plan in a nutshell. And I know that RF just asked me a couple more things as to what we offer. So I don't want to take up too much time. So I'll just speak really quickly about a project that RF commented on, that he was a volunteer with our service. So we have a project.
If I may, Kira.
Yeah.
You have lots of time.
The
only other
Sorry,
guest speaker.
so
Yeah, no, you've still got a good 15 minutes. The only other guest speaker we had today was RF doing your introduction.
Oh, and he took up lots of time. Okay, wonderful. So we've got our volunteer program. It's called our COPS program. What that program is Citizens on Patrol. It started off many years ago, much before I was even here at the service, with 3 volunteer members. We ran a Citizens Police Academy, which RF was part of before he came in, and we ended up getting a lot of invested interest in volunteering for our service. From there, we grew our COPS program, and we ran another Citizens Police Academy, and then we got some more interest. So we are now up to 17 members of our team, and this was just before COVID. That we really started to really get some momentum with our program. And we have these individuals get trained by myself. I'm the one that's leading the program right now. And even though I've left our community services unit and come over to the community safety and well-being, I've asked that I keep the project because I'm really passionate about it. And one of our goals with Barrie Police is to increase our volunteer services. And this volunteer program, although these members are only the eyes and the ears, so they go out on patrol within the city of Barrie, and they're in a vehicle, their own personal vehicle. They are identified with a Citizens on Patrol badge. They are given some vests, which we had donated because there is a 0 budget for this program. So I have been begging, borrowing, and stealing all of my personal resources to get some funding for the program. So we have high visibility vests, similar to like this. We had a local gas station donate gift cards for us so that we can give our volunteer members $12.50 for gas for the night. And then I had McDonald's graciously donate some gift cards so that the members can have a coffee every night. And then we bought some Tim Hortons gift cards out of my crime prevention budget. So they can just have a coffee, sit and chat with each other. There's 2 members that go out on a patrol at nighttime. And right now our program had been completely shut down because of COVID, but I begged our new deputy if I could start the program back up to patrol the area of the tornado that desperately needed some cars visible in the area and just some random patrols. So we've had several members of our team out patrolling the area. And in fact, some of them own some e-bikes and they volunteered to go out on some e-bikes and patrol. It's a really good program. We're working on some vehicles that we hope to be high visibility with just citizens on patrol so the community can see, because if we're out there, that deters the crime. It's wonderful. So that program is super, super close to my heart. And we're just hoping to expand it. We just actually launched a media release yesterday to try and expand that program. That's one, and that's for safer neighborhoods. That's our goal. We want safer neighborhoods. We want to be committed to our community, and we want community safety and well-being. We also have increased our neighborhood watch program. So there is one active member in the city of Barrie who I've liaisoned several times with. She is amazing, and she's offered her services to train other members in the community who might want to launch their own neighborhood policing. So that's another great opportunity. And the last thing that RF wanted me to talk about was how our police service continues to evolve. So I do want to give kudos a little bit to our new deputy chief, Rich Johnson. He is extremely evidence-based, forward-thinking, ready to go and really make change. And that's what we're doing. We are really using that evidence to drive our services to make sure that we are being effective, because there's no sense in us going out, for example, to Fairview Road, where we get no complaints of speeding, let's say, and us sit on Fairview Road and do radar. It doesn't make any sense. It's a waste of our resources, a waste of our taxpayer dollars. So if we can gather proper data and use that evidence to drive our officers out to a high complaint area, that is what we want to do. So that's just a little bit of forward thinking from him. And there's endless projects that we're doing, endless things that we keep putting out in our media. And we just hope to keep moving forward, driving forward, increasing our visibility, and just keep going. So I can open it up for questions if anyone has any questions, but basically that's me in a nutshell.
That's fantastic, Kira. Thank you. And folks, I'm going to ask you, if you do have a question, let's use the raise your hand icon on your screen. Jeff will control it. So we will take any questions if we have any. No
Now,
questions?
I know I talk really fast. My mom always says, nobody can hear you because you talk so fast. And I'm like, no, you're just old, Mom. So hopefully I didn't go too fast.
We still have time, Kira. Eric Dean has a question for you, Kira. Eric?
Thanks, President Jody, and hi, Kira. Great presentation, lots of really good information. Like a curiosity, and it's because I saw some of your stuff on social media on a different level, was perspectives on the tornado and the community response to that, and how your team may have interacted with that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Thank you for asking that question, because this was super passionate to me. My husband is our Barrie Police Association president, and this role that I'm in is relatively new. So we were both on holidays when we heard about it, and we both came back, and not for overtime or money. Genuinely, we came back, not only because that's our neighborhood, but because the outpouring of messages. RF mentioned to you that I have a huge presence in my community, and he in fact even called me, what can I do, how can I help? And I had an outcry of people asking, where can we go, what can we do? The personal messages I got were overwhelming. How can the community help? What can we do? And when we set up our command center on Prince William Way, the impact that we had being there with the efforts of the Salvation Army. Oh, remind me, I want to talk to you about our Bright Spot program, which is downtown too. When we talked to the members of the community, working with the Salvation Army, working with our victim services as partnerships, and working with the victims involved in the tornado, they were so grateful that we were there. They wish that we had more presence, obviously, to do more patrols. There were some rumors of looting and things like that of the housing. That actually wasn't really happening. What the biggest response that I'm getting are a lot of gawkers. People are driving around the scene, literally driving like this with their phones out the window, and the community members are just heartbroken at that. They're devastated. So having said that, I reached out on my personal Facebook and asked members of the community's support. I had businesses reaching out to me, giving me hundreds and hundreds of dollars of gift cards for Toys R Us. I had Wendy's give me stacks of gift cards for Frosty. Sorry, I'm an emotional person, so I'm just going to be honest with you. This is really emotional because when I came back and I worked the tornado scene on the weekend, I'm trying to be professional because there are a lot of very professional men and women on this Zoom. So I'm trying to hold myself together. I got out of my car and I walked, and there were homes that were blown away. And little boys that had lost all of their toys, like their toilet was in their back room. So Crystal Taylor works, she owns the wig shop. She gave me $500 for Toys R Us gift cards. So I drove to, not as a police officer, because my husband as the police association said, Kira, you can't pick this family, you can't pick that family. But I drove to the houses where I saw that they were destroyed and all the toys were gone. And I started to give out the gift cards to these individuals. The overwhelming response of our community, it was just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. But I couldn't even touch upon it. We had, I think 69, I think it was 63, but I think it went up to 69 houses uninhabitable. And I've been riding my bike every day down there, giving out Frosty gift card, little coupons for the kids, and giving out, we have these little toys. And some of the kids, they're squeezable toys I ordered when I was in our schools unit. Some of the kids were coming up to me and just saying, Officer Kira, because they recognized me from school, how can I cope? And I'm like, you can squeeze our toy, you can squeeze our toy. To yesterday, there were 3 kids still holding the toy that I gave them on the Saturday before. So it was impactful, to answer your question, Eric. It was super impactful, and it really still is. And we're still going out there. I mean, this community is going to be devastated for many, many, many months to come. I saw some of our ward counselors out there yesterday trying to do some really good work, picking up some garbage and stuff. And there's a lot of broken hearts still out there, but there's a lot of love and a lot of laughter and a real sense of community out there. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Kira. That's great for both on the professional and the personal front. Terrific stuff.
Kira, that was, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. We want to hear more of you, please.
Okay.
You hang out first.
If nobody has questions about the tornado, I'll talk a little bit about the project when I first came into this unit that's downtown. Any tornado stuff? Okay, good, because I don't want to cry anymore. The downtown Barrie has been a topic for ever. And before I came into this position, I thought, okay, what can I do? And Staff Sergeant Valerie Gates had come to me and said, hey, I'm wondering if you'd like to work on a little project downtown. There was a female, you guys might have heard about this through the media, a female who's come forward and said that she didn't feel safe working downtown or walking downtown with her girlfriends. They were getting catcalled or they were just feeling uncomfortable by different people in the community. Do you want to work on a downtown safety audit? I have something called CEPTED background, which is crime prevention through environmental design that I'm trained on. So I thought, yeah, you know what, I'll try to work on something. I didn't realize that this was going to be a 1.5-year project, but I'm thankful that I did it because it landed me in this position. I worked with a group and the BIA and our ward counselor downtown and the Salvation Army, Shack's World, a bunch of us got together and we went downtown, we did a walkabout and thought, okay, this could use some safety tips, this could use some safety tips, talked to some of the owners downtown, and we really came up with a plan. I did a whole CEPTED assessment. It was a 35-page document with pictures showing where we're having graffiti, where we're lacking lighting, where we're lacking safety, cameras, all that sort of stuff. So just recently, I'm going to be posting this shortly, but I reached out to Donnelly's and the Alley to see, can you guys help? We don't have any budget really for this. Nobody has budget for anything if you guys are catching on to that. But what can we do to help brighten up those alleys? Would it be possible if we could light them up like Christmas trees? And everyone was on board with it. It's just the hoops that we had to go through. So I finally got approval, and with the city's help, the city paid for the permits, and Donnelly's and the Alley paid for all of the labor. The BIA paid for the lights, and we strung lights up through the alleys. We did a big video about it the other day, and I just haven't had time to post it yet, but it looks beautiful. It's inviting. When we were doing the video, some of the employees were coming out of the businesses saying, thank you so much for doing this. I can't tell you how much safer I feel walking down these alleys. I can't tell you how much safer I feel just going to my car. I can't tell you how much safer I feel that you guys are investing this in our downtown core. So that was really exciting. We're working on some convex mirrors to give some more safety. There are some more alleys in the back. I would love to do a professional graffiti project all in the back behind Dunlop Street. I mean, that is major, major work down the road, but just to give us, once you take pride in your businesses, which most of you ladies and gentlemen are business owners, you will have, everybody will be taking care of it. People will want to take pictures. If you have the big angel wings behind you, it'll be a social media attraction. So we are continuing that project, and we ended up going to the stores to say, would you participate in being involved in, I'm just going to grab a sign here. Would you participate in something like a blockbuster or a block parent initiative? And what we did is we developed these signs that this establishment is recognized as a bright spot. And the reason why we came up with the bright spot was that was Jenna with our media unit. Our downtown BIA classifies Barrie as a bright spot. So if you saw these signs in your window in the downtown to start, we're going to go all through the city of Barrie. But this meant come into our business and feel safe, and we will get you the help that you need. If you need help with the women and children shelter or the youth haven or something like that, you can go in there, and these establishments will have lists of organizations that could help you, or you just simply need someone to call 911 for you, but you're not sure if you should go into that store. If you see this sign, you know, this is a safe spot. So there was some, of course, pros and cons, like why do we need a sign? Anyone can go into any store, but not really, because these signs show these stores have these lists of numbers for the shelter or for the Salvation Army, and can put you in contact with someone like that. So that was the project that I worked on that was really, really exciting. And we're going to continue that good work. And I'm sure we're going to just continue work as we go along. And
Here,
so there.
Kira, that's fantastic. And one of our pillars here is we don't go past 1:30, but today a day, we're going to go past it. So I'm going to ask you if you'll stick around for a bit to chat a little bit more. But I'd like to ask Jason to take a quick moment and thank you on behalf of the club, please, Kira. Or Jason, sorry.
Constable Brooks, thanks for joining us today. Typically, when they ask a thanker, there is some sort of connection with the speaker, and I was trying to figure it out. And the only thing I can think is that you and I both know what the inside of a jail cell looks like. So no, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Just joking. No, we all know that on the most of us know what police do on the surface because we see you on the street, we see your cars, etc. But a lot of us don't know what the police services and you do behind the scenes and all the good things you do. And it's really great to have you come and talk to us, see your passion, and hear about the great things you're doing to protect our community, make our community a better place. And that's what our mission is too. And so it's great to hear from you, and we really, really appreciate you joining us today, and specifically on a last minute notice. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, Kira. Thank you, Jason.
And Kira, I would like to just add my thanks. What you do it makes this city better. And that's something that as Rotarians, we think we play a role in, but your job's a heck of a lot more difficult. And I see your social media, you are very visible in what you're doing, and it is very important. And in the role that you have and the job that you have, our social media and the news don't necessarily provide the right information for us to take forward. And you're a hero, and all the police officers and volunteers in the city are heroes. So thank you for speaking to us today. And again, on very, very short notice, and thanks to Jay and Era for putting that together. And Kira, one of the things that Rotary's been working on for years to make a difference is the eradication of polio. And it's been an ongoing project, and it is literally this close. And so a donation, this certificate is going to be made in your name on behalf of your presentation here today. So I thank you very much for that. And folks, I know I'm going to be a couple minutes late, and you can send me an email if you'd like, but that's the way it rolls. If Kira's good to stick around for a few minutes, we'll see what else she has. Next Thursday, weather permitting, we will be back at Rotary Garden. I'll update on a tent. The District Governor, Steve Meadley, will be the presentation next week. So there'll be some great Rotary information to learn there. And I talked earlier about the frustration of this week and wanting our momentum to grow and to continue on as we go. And we take a setback with the rain. And Kira talked about Zoom fatigue and email fatigue, and that's all real. It's frustrating. Today was a frustrating day for me putting this together because I'm not where I want us to be, and we don't control that. So my final words today are going to be emailed out to you. There's a video that some of you may have seen. If I just refer to Admiral McRaven and Make Your Bed, it's a 15-minute video. It's probably the greatest motivational speech I have ever watched in my life. It's an address to a university in the States, and it is just a brilliant summary of everything that we do, Kira's message here today, and all that we do as volunteers. So with nothing further, for the good of Rotary, I wish you all a safe and happy long weekend. I declare this meeting adjourned.